Hi, and welcome back to my channel. I want to talk today about the uh, the 5 second rule. Now, the 5 second rule, if you're from my generation, I am what they call a Gen X. The 5 second rule is when we were kids. If we had a piece of candy and the candy fell on the floor, we would have 5 seconds to pick it up. And if we picked it up within 5 seconds, it was still good and we could eat it. Or, for example, if you had a cookie and maybe say, for example, you taken a bite of it and a piece of it broke off and fell on the floor, you could pick it up real fast within 5 seconds and it was still good. You blow it off and eat it. Now, I remember several years ago, I was at work. I'm working real hard, and I've worked about 3 or 4 hours, and I decided to run real quick and take a break. And I ran into the break room. I got what I was preparing to eat, and I threw it in the microwave, warmed it up real good. And as I pulled it out of the microwave and turned towards the counter, it fell on the floor. And I was so upset because here I am now. I'm an adult. There's no more 5 second rule when you're an adult. Besides, I'm at work. Everything is dirty, as far as the floor. And I looked. There was a young lady that was just looking at me, and she was like, "Oh goodness, there goes your small little snack. It's all over the floor." And I looked at her and I said, "You know what? I thank God, because this is going to be the worst part of my day." And so within 5 seconds of a bad situation happening, my new 5 second rule is turn it to a positive. So the new 5 second rule for 2025 and beyond is turn all negatives to a positive within 5 seconds. And what happened the rest of that day was I went home, continued my day, went home, and once I got home, one of my children said to me, "Dad, could we go to the park? I want to get outside and enjoy the weather." And so we left. We went to the park. They swang on the swings. I pushed them down the slide. We went and walked around the lake and just had a wonderful time. And so the worst part of my day that day was my snack falling on the floor and me having to throw it away. But within 5 seconds of that snack falling on the floor, I declared that would be the worst part of my day. And so I want to encourage you to have a new 5 second rule. No matter what happens in your life, no matter what bad news you get from, say, for example, the doctor gives you some bad news, make sure you say, within 5 seconds, my day will be positive. That news will be the worst part of my day. I will have a good, positive rest of the day and rest of the week, rest of the year. And that negative news will be the worst part of my day. Say that within 5 seconds of a negative situation. Many of you know that I had a disaster the early part of the summer. At that time, I knew God had saved my life because I normally would be in the area of the disaster at that time of the day, working out in my yard. And so within the first 5 seconds of the disaster, I said, I could have been killed. I'm going to have to spend money to clean up, but a funeral would have been more than the cleanup. And God had saved my life. And so within the first 5 seconds, I recognized and moved away from the negative and turned it into a positive situation. You know, there's a lot of layoffs going on right now in my area and also all over the country. If you do get laid off, turn that into a positive situation. Know that that will be the worst part of your day, the worst part of your week, the worst part of your month and year. And within 5 seconds, declare that you will receive employment somewhere else, or God may turn you into an entrepreneur and help you start your own business. So take the first five seconds of every bad situation and declare positivity in your life. Always declare positivity in your life. And do that within the first 5 seconds of any negative situation. Move away from negative situations within the first 5 seconds. If someone comes around you and they're complaining and they're telling you how negative their life is, and you know they can't afford their rent, and you know the gas prices are high, and you know life is hard, and the situation in their life is just always bad. Within the first 5 seconds of company that is negative in that way, move away from that situation. Move away from a person who has been negative around you within the first 5 seconds of their communicating with you. Tell them your positive story. Tell them your positive experiences and squash their negative stories within the first 5 seconds. Also, remember to thank God for waking you up every morning. No matter what the situation might be and how tough things may seem in your life, thank God for waking you up and giving you a mind to better the situation. And do that within the first 5 seconds of any negative situation that may come your way. That is the new 5-second rule. I hope this has encouraged you to think positively and always work to live a positive life, to live a good life, be good to people. Always smile and be happy around people. And live positively all day long. And if negative come towards you, move away from it within 5 seconds. Thank you. Have a good day.